Hello and welcome back to the Adam 22 Daily News Show. Now, right now, we are absolutely drowning in news. So I'm just going to start out with the first story that has been blowing up on the internet right now, but trust me, we got a whole lot more good stuff to go. Let's talk about the Soulja Boy versus Jake Paul boxing match. Now, these guys have been going back and forth on Twitter a little bit. You can see the tweets right here, but it all culminated today with this ridiculous Instagram live clip that went up.
I'm gonna knock you out. I got $20 on the line.
You want to fight? Let's fight.
Basically, Soulja Boy is making the point that he wants to fight, and Jake Paul is making the point that he wants to fight. So it seems like these two guys might actually fight. And it also seems like Jake Paul might be doing a no jumper interview next week. If you want to pester him about that on Twitter to just make sure that it happens, that would be cool. Maybe we could even get a follow-up interview with Soulja Boy. That would be cool. Anyway, what's my perspective on this? I am going to be honest with you. I think Jake Paul looks a little bit more athletic than Soulja Boy. I just believe him to have more athleticism going on, at least this point. Plus, he has a lot of fight training. Like, Jake Paul took that last fight really, really seriously and trained super hard. And from what I've heard, he has continued to train pretty hard. So Soulja Boy, he could start training hard right now. And I do believe that Soulja Boy, if he really got into it, could probably get in really good shape and probably do some work. But I don't know if he's going to be able to beat the fact that Jake is already like pretty much primed, in shape, ready to fight. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I actually think that these two are actually crazy enough that this might actually happen. Like when Soulja Boy and Chris Brown almost had their boxing debut, that to me never really made sense because Chris Brown just has too much of like a real career going on that I just couldn't really see him putting it all on the line to fight Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy and Jake Paul are both kind of at weird points in their careers. Like Jake Paul, his channel has been doing, you know, not great recently, and he's sort of had some controversies and everything, and it doesn't seem like he's 100% sure what he wants to do in terms of his YouTube career. And then on the other hand, you have Soulja Boy, who's basically exploding right now, not so much for his music, but more so just for the shenanigans. So I think like right now, this actually makes sense for both of them. So I don't know. I would love to see it get on paper and see it actually happen, as I'm sure all of you will, because it basically guarantees we're gonna have like 6 to 9 months of hype and something to talk about on the internet. Next story, Sheck Wes shot a music video and the production crew didn't get paid. They were pissed, so they put up the video anyway. They edited it and they just put it out. And then Sheck Wes was angry as hell, so he sent them some DMs, which you can see on the screen. He was really, really pissed. The label had the video taken down. So these guys then took the music video that they shot and sort of subtitled it. They just put in themselves talking and sort of saying basically what they think Sheck Wes is thinking or saying, and the video blew up. It's got over 500,000 views already.
Kicks in, kiss me good.
And I gotta admit, it is friggin' hilarious. I'm not sure why the video didn't come out. Sheck Wes is kind of in an interesting position because he wants to obviously have another hit. Maybe they didn't feel that this video or this song was the right choice. But either way, the question is, who's in the right and who's in the wrong? Well, I'm gonna be real with you. Sheck Wes says in one of the DMs, he says the video didn't come out, as if that's explanation for why they didn't get paid. Obviously, the video crew is gonna get paid or should get paid regardless of if the final product actually comes out. They put in the work, they deserve to get paid. But then on the other hand, I agree, they probably should have gone about it in a more mature way. They should have gone to court. Honestly, if they felt they were owed money, they shouldn't have just gone and leaked this song and put the video out. That's kind of an immature move, to be totally honest. So I believe mistakes were made on both fronts, but at the end of the day, millions of people, presumably millions of people, are going to be laughing their ass off at this little parody clip. So I guess all's well that ends well. Next story, Earl Sweatshirt has had some harsh words for Yes Jules, maybe a little too harsh. For those of you out there, you probably saw in a prior episode that Yes Jules did a little bit of a rap on the radio show with Soulja Boy, and it was not received very well by the internet. They were pretty angry about it, in particular this line where she said something about her ass being fat and how she wasn't black. Well, anyway, she posted a long apology, which you can see on the screen right here. I don't know, maybe you can zoom in and read it if you're really interested, but basically she's just saying that she's going to take some time and think about her mistakes and being insensitive, etc., etc. Explains how she didn't really actually mean anything by it. But apparently that excuse did not work on Earl Sweatshirt because he tweeted tweeted out, "Swear to God, if y'all don't jump affirmative jewels on some healthy, ultimately non-life-threatening shit, I know y'all be seeing this person in public." So some might say that threatening someone with violence or encouraging violence, even if he did pull it back a little bit and say that he didn't want her to really get hurt, is a little bit inappropriate. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one, but Earl Sweatshirt taking a stand against white girl rappers. Okay, next story. Hopefully you guys remember Tax Stone. He was a very enigmatic Brooklyn-based podcaster until he was recently locked up on some pretty serious charges that you can look up because I don't feel like explaining it all right now. Anyway, he's in Brooklyn, and there's been a lot of news coming out saying basically that there's been no power and the prisoners are getting sick, and basically it's just a terrible scene. Well, somebody tweeting for Tax, presumably tweeting for Tax, tweeted out, "No electricity, heat, hot water, or food at Brooklyn MDC. This has been going on for 3 days. Inmates are being gassed by COs. Don't believe that anything has been fixed because it has not." And then he tagged a bunch of people. And then his next tweet basically gave a bunch of phone numbers and information for people that he feels like might be responsible for this. You know, honestly, Tax, I feel, was one of the most talented hip-hop commentators of all time. And I really, really miss just being able to listen to his content. And to read something like this and to realize that someone as talented as him, who should be living in a very comfortable situation, to realize that he's in this shitty of a situation is just absolutely devastating. So if you want to take your time and make some of these phone calls, I would say it's a pretty good idea. I did just see a news post up saying that the electricity will be restored by Monday, but Tax's post basically was saying that they've been gassing people up, so who knows. Next story. Probably most of my audience doesn't really know much about Portishead, but I know you guys know about Lil Pump. Well, Lil Pump is being accused of ripping that band off. Jeff Barrow has accused Lil Pump of sampling his music without permission. He sent out a tweet today that said, "Who is Lil Pump? He used mine and Benjamin something's Annihilation score in his deeply fucking sexist song. Just so you know, we didn't give clearance. As two fathers of daughters, this shit needs to seriously fuck off." Next tweet reads, "I would have described him as a rapper, but he ain't Rakim, and Chuck D and Guilty Simpson are rappers. Fuck knows what he is other than a misogynist." And then the next tweet said, "There ain't no royalties to win here. I've done this dance before, but if we had our own way, he'd be forced to donate all money to women's refuge charities." Now, reading all this really made me want to re-listen to the song and take a look at the lyrics and decide if it really is as sexist as he says. To be honest, the song isn't really that sexist compared to the average rap song in 2019. Pump does repeatedly say that he will fuck a girl once and then he's finished. But to be honest, I guess I'm a little desensitized because that doesn't really hit the radar so much for me. I've heard a lot worse, and I hear a lot worse on a very consistent basis. Anyway, the part I'm confused about is how he's saying that there's no royalties to be won here. Like, if that's really their call, whether the song was licensed or not, then obviously there should be royalties to be won here, right? I don't know. Either way, this is a conversation. Why don't you drop some thoughts down below and let me know what you think about this debacle. Okay, next story. Blueface was arrested. You have videos leaked that you can see right here of Blueface being arrested at a gas station. Apparently, he was in downtown LA wearing a lot of jewelry. The police got called, and it's kind of unclear right now if there was an actual attempt on his jewelry, but when they showed up, a couple of his friends threw their pistols, and as a result, Blueface was arrested. Now, the most recent reporting that has been coming out about this makes it sound like Blueface probably did not himself have a gun, which is good, but apparently his friends fled and he was later released on $35,000 bail, courtesy of his manager, Whack 100. Now, this is a little bit concerning because probably a lot of you know about the fact that Blueface recently had a shootout on the highway and he still has to face those charges. But regardless, hopefully Blueface can chill out a little bit. It would really be a shame if he wasn't able to make it to the next No Jumper monthly show that he is headlining as a result of some bullshit. But either way, Blueface, make sure your friends keep the guns. You don't need to be a part of that. That's my advice. Moving on. The Game has been making a lot of noise as a result of some of the things that he's had to say about Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner, etc. He's really laying it all out there, making it clear that he's had sex with a lot of women in his days. Well, allegedly, and the song has not actually leaked, there's no snippet to be heard. Allegedly, in that same song where he has those things to say about Kim Kardashian, The Game also says that he slept with Sin Santana, aka Joe Budden's wife. DJ Academics has heard the song, and he actually went on Live and said basically that he thinks it's really distasteful and that it's kind of inappropriate. And obviously he's friends with Joe Budden, so he didn't really want to see that go down. But Joe Budden released a new episode of his podcast today. I actually had to go on over to Spotify to listen to it, which, by the way, follow the No Jumper Spotify playlist. And I got to listen to Joe Budden's side of the story. He's had a very long-standing, long-running beef with the game. I wouldn't say that it was particularly active lately, but real hip-hop fans remember that back in like 2002, those guys had some beef. It was basically over Joe Budden's beef with 50 Cent. And then they went on to do a song together at a certain point. But after that, no huge beef or anything. But I mean, Kanye also got some shots, and Game apparently slept with Kim Kardashian a long-ass time ago. So apparently Joe Budden, he's getting the shots too. Joe's position, if you want me to summarize it, was basically, he said that he doesn't actually even know if his wife slept with the Game. He said he's never asked, which is a pretty intelligent game plan for him, because if you think about it, then he never actually has to admit that she did it or didn't do it, and he gets to act like he just doesn't know, doesn't care. But I guess Joe's main point that he was really trying to make is that he thinks Game is super corny for this. He kept saying the Game is ice cold and that this is the only way he can get hot right now, and that nobody else would be talking about his stuff unless this was what was coming out of his mouth, which I guess is a pretty fair point. I mean, Game knows what he's doing. Game came into the rap game talking shit about everybody. That's always been his thing. He came into the game with a documentary, which is like one of the most classic rap albums of that time. But I mean, he was name dropping super heavy and he was starting beef, and that's just always been his thing. So I guess we shouldn't really be surprised. Whether this turns into more of a real beef, like if Game antagonizes it a bit more, that would be interesting to see. But as far as my personal take, I do agree that this is a little trashy, and I do believe that the Game should be above it. I don't really think that he needs to be out here talking about people's wives and their happy relationships. Okay, next story. Bow Wow was arrested. Yes, he was involved in some sort of domestic dispute with his lady friend, and the police were unable to figure out who exactly was at fault, so they arrested both of them and sent them to separate jails. And apparently no real damage was done, but check out the mug shots. She looks totally fine. Bow Wow looks like he might have been attacked by Wolverine. Adam22 signing out. Please head on over to nojumper.com. We got all kinds of great products up right now. Please check that out. What else should you do? Oh, like, subscribe, comment. All those things are hugely appreciated. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I will be back next week. There's probably going to be all kinds of more crazy news tomorrow, so make sure you bookmark this thing, subscribe. Shout out to my boys over at Bearwoods. Peace.